You can't deny facts, and that is that the St. Louis Blues are the best team in hockey.
Hey, this is Brayden Chen. Subscribe to Locked On Blues.
You're Locked On Blues, your daily podcast on the St. Louis Blues. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, and welcome back to Locked On Blues. I am your host of Locked On Blues, Haley Taylor Simon, talking to you all things about our St. Louis Blues here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today on Locked On Blues, I'm going to talk to you about why the St. Louis Blues are the best team in hockey post-break. Also, we're going to look ahead to see who the Blues will be up against and also how the rest of the West is panning out right now. Also, the Magic, it's back. I know, it sort of feels like 2019, and you cannot deny the inevitable, but there is a lot of good for the Blues, and I am really excited to dive into everything that happened in last night's game, and most importantly, talk about where the Blues stand right now. I think for the St. Louis Blues, it's been exhausting season. It has been a very exhausting season in a sense that the team just, struggled, but now they can't stop winning. And that win column, well, it's a lot of W's because the Blues now have 10 wins in a row. That is right. The Blues' longest winning streak since 2022. Also, I just want to point out that the Blues are the only team in the NHL right now with this big of a win streak. So again, it's incredible what they're doing. Again, make sure to follow us on Twitter at Locked On Blues or my own Twitter at Haley T. Simon. But let's go dive into the game last night because I was a little bit frustrated for a little bit and for about 59 minutes and 31 seconds of it. But last night's contest, the Blues defeated Detroit 2-1 in overtime, but that doesn't paint the picture. In the first frame, the Blues, even on the first shift, the Blues had opportunity. Jordan Kyrou had a really good opportunity. But Detroit's goalie, Cam Talbot, 37 years old. I mean, he's been in this league forever. He played probably one of the best games I've ever seen him play in. He was phenomenal. And I'm not going to deny that. If a player on another team has an outstanding game, I am able to accept that. I'm able to, I'm able to understand that, right? And that's how good of a game he had last night. Cam Talbot, by the way, he has been lights out in the league for years. And again, if there's one player that deserved to maybe get the first star prior to the last 30-ish seconds of regulation, it would have been Cam Talbot. He had 35 saves last night. And again, kudos to him. But anyways, let's talk more about why this game was so magical. Binnington was in net. He played great in net. The one thing I love about watching Jordan Binnington play in net is that he's able to use his big frame to make the net look so small and so tiny. And he does such a great job covering that kind of empty space in a sense. I mean, there was this one play in the first frame where Binner kind of shifted a little bit too much to the left, and Justin Folk was able to put down his stick and to block a shot. And it's uncharacteristic for Jordan Binnington to leave the net open like that. However, with the sequence of events, it kind of just was a little bit disorganized, maybe something like that. But the fact that Justin Folk was able to be so smart and was able to make sure that he blocked that shot just said something about his veteran experience, because I know that he's been a player that has been kind of taking a little bit of heat lately. So again, I was very, very impressed with Binnington's performance last night. I also was impressed with a guy, you may know him, you may not know him. His name is Jordan Kyrou. Jordan Kyrou scored his 32nd goal of the season last night with a great feed from Cam Fowler. We're going to talk about Cam in a minute. And Holloway with the secondary assist, giving him 37 assists on the season. But the Detroit Red Wings score, right? 5 minutes into the third frame, and they were dominating the Blues' defensive zone. Like, they were truly just invading it. And the Blues, they had chances in their offensive zone, right? And they couldn't do anything about it. And Detroit was able to clear the puck. I mean, Detroit is awful on the penalty kill. And despite the Blues having 3 power plays, it didn't really matter because Detroit was actually able to kill all 3 of them and do it kind of swiftly and easily. That was, again, something I was not expecting from Detroit just because they are last in the league when it comes to the penalty kill. But when it comes to the power play, well, they're one of the best teams in the league on the power play. But luckily, Detroit did not score any power play goals. The one goal that they scored was just like a regulation goal, but still, full strength goal. I mean, but still, it happens, right? So yeah, Detroit's up 1-0. 29 seconds left. That's when Jordan Kyrou scores. But I do want to take kind of a minute to give props to Coach Jim Montgomery because he did pull Jordan Binnington with about 3 minutes left to go in the final frame. And I think that was a risky move. Usually you see coaches pulling their goalies with like 90 seconds left. So I think just doing it 90 seconds prior to when they usually do at the 3 minute mark just goes to show the expertise that a coach like Jim Montgomery does have. And he was able to really just evaluate what was going on. And the boys did such a good job keeping the puck in the offensive zone, despite Detroit's attempt to clear the puck numerous times. So again, just really smart hockey. Kyre's goal, though, you know, I have my notifications on because on the stream it's a little bit delayed, and I'm like, I cannot see what happens. So I put my phone down and I just have my head, I'm holding it down, and all of a sudden Kyrie scores and it's like magic. And I screamed. I was so excited. That might have been for me one of the goals of the season. But another goal that made me freak out was Cam Fowler's goal. I think I watched this goal maybe 50 times. I'm sitting at work today just watching it on my phone. Yeah. Because that goal in overtime, it was about 3 minutes into OT. A little nice backhandy from Fowler and a great feed from Robert Thomas. And now Tomer has 50 assists on the season. But Cam Fowler, ooh, the impact that that man has had on this team is something really notable and special. And that's why Fowler got the first star and Ruzi got the second. And then they gave Cam Talbot the third star, which they should. And then last week it came out that Jordan Binnington received the third star throughout the whole entire National Hockey League. So it's really good to see that for him. I know Holloway had, I believe it was the third star a couple weeks ago, and now Binnington. So the Blues, they're making an impact note, and now people are talking about this team, and they're like, wow, what's been going on in St. Louis? Well, magic. And, after the game last night, one of the reporters asked Ruzi, hey, does it feel like 2019? And he just said, hey, we're kind of just like doing our own thing. And that's one of the things that I really did emphasize and talk about, how I feel like this team is finally just playing hockey the way that they should have been playing hockey all season. They have this newfound motivation. They have all this momentum. But in last night's contest, I really thought they were going to lose because you had less than a minute to go. I just really did not think that they were going to be able to win. And then that goal by Kyrou and everything changed. And again, that's why hockey is such a great sport, because you never know the outcome. In some other sports, sometimes it's a little bit maybe more difficult for things like that to take place, like, baseball maybe. If you have 2 outs, no one's on base, you have to really hope that you just hit like a solo home run. Well, that's possible, a little bit more difficult. Hockey, on the other hand, I feel like anything can happen at any given time. So that's why last night it was just such a magical and momentous moment for me as a fan, because I'm watching this game and I'm watching the team that I love, knowing if they get 2 points last night, they get to overtake the wild card 1 spot. And that's exactly what they did. The St. Louis Blues are your wild card 1 team of the West. I didn't think that I would be saying that. It actually sounds very weird to say out loud. Very weird, actually. I'm going to still have to get used to that. You know what it is? I think because there was that chance of the Blues missing the playoffs for so long, then now all of a sudden they're in a position to be the wild card 1 team. It just kind of made me realize, wow, this is something super, super special. And I don't know. It's really, really awesome what's happening with the Blues right now. So, coming up next, I'm going to talk to you about basically looking ahead and seeing what's going around the National Hockey League with the other teams. But before I do that, I want to talk to you about my friends over at Wonderful Pistachios. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fueler longer. Personally, I love the no shells variety. It's the perfect grab and go snack for busy days. Whether I'm snacking at my desk on a road trip or I just need a quick protein boost, they're always my go to. And if you love cracking open every shell for that satisfying crunch, the in shell options are a classic favorite. Get snackin' and get crackin' with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. But one thing I think I really want to touch on with you is going to be about what is going on around the West. I think at the end of the day, right now the Blues are in a great position. Obviously, they've gone 16-2-2 since the break. They have a 10-0-0 record since their last 10 games. But right now, I feel like the most pressing and important thing for the Blues is making sure that they can maintain this spot. Right now, they are in wild card 1, which is actually really, really good. Better than honestly, I would feel if they were still in the wild card 2 spot with the points that they have. I think it's just that little bit of a cushion knowing that they kind of have some more room and flexibility. But again, the Wild do have 1 game in hand and they do play tonight. So we need the Rangers to win. And I think that's where I'm also a little bit nervous is kind of like the fact of, okay, if the Blues go back to the wild card 2 position, we'll just be back and forth between the Blues and the Wild, and that is a big possibility. But one of the websites that I love, okay, it is called Money Puck. And I guess you can say I'm a little bit of a statistics nerd, and we've talked about this here in Locked On Blues all the time. And the Blues right now are in a position, get this, to make the playoffs as of today. The Blues have a 92.7% chance to make the playoffs. You might be thinking, hell, that's incredible. And it is incredible. And it's something that I feel like is very achievable. The Blues are also projected to have 95.5 points, which is essentially like 96 points. But I think at the beginning of the season, I did say the Blues were going to have over 92 wins. So again, we're kind of like up to what 92 points, not wins, obviously. We're kind of heading in the direction of what I said. Also, here is the other thing. To make it to round 2, the Blues have a 31% chance, which I know you might be thinking, Haley, that's not awesome. However, to win the cup, the St. Louis Blues have a 1.9% chance. But again, it's hard for that round in a sense because I feel like it's all kind of low odds. I mean, obviously the team right now with the highest odds to win the cup is the Winnipeg Jets. But I always feel like the top 3 teams don't ever win it. I mean, I know that they do, and I'm not saying that they don't, but it is very interesting. But I mean, wild card 2 for the Blues. Like, I really think they're going to be a wild card 1 team. I really do. But Minnesota and the Blues have a 46% chance of being the wild card 1, and the Wild have a 47% chance. So the odd makers right now, they're really kind of just statistically in a position where they can't differentiate between the 2 teams. But at the same time, I do feel like the Blues are one of the best teams in the National Hockey League right now. And you cannot deny that. Like, I think my problem, right? And my situation maybe is that I'm a little bit biased, right? Obviously, when it comes to the Blues, I am super, super biased about how they are. And I think that's okay. But Robert Thomas right now was 35 amongst all NHL players when it comes to his power rankings, which is really great. So was Dylan Holloway. He's 48. Jordan Kyrou's 52. Do we have any other Blues players? This list just keeps on going and going and going. Bushi is 111 and then Shenny's 112. So why am I telling you this? It's because there is so much talent on the Blues and now it's finally being brought to life. But I also want to talk about looking ahead for some of these other teams. And I think the best way to do that right now is to kind of break down, I know, Haley's stats, I know. But I want you to get a better understanding of where I'm coming from. Right now, the Blues are wild card 1, 76 games played, 41 wins, 28 losses, 4 OTL, 89 points. Wild, 75 games played, 41 wins, 28 losses, 6 OTL, 88 points. Again, they played tonight against the Rangers. The Calgary Flames with 82 points. They played 74 games, so 2 games in hand over the Blues. 35 wins, 27 losses, 12 OTL. That's where the Flames really excelled in the season, was getting those overtime loss points. That 1 point. It matters. The Canucks, 74 games, 2 games in hand over the Blues with 81 points. Okay. 34 wins, 27 losses, 13 OTL. Again, you notice a pattern. And Utah, you know what? I did count out Utah. I'm not going to lie. Like, they have 80 points now, but I feel like maybe this is just me. Utah's on a 2-game winning streak, even though I believe a streak is 3 games. However, whatever, we each have our own opinions. And I really do believe Utah is going to be a playoff team next season. I think the problem with the Canucks and the Flames is that it's just a little bit back. I mean, wildcard here now with the Wild having 88 points. And let's go say the Wild gained 2 points tonight and they're at 90 points, right? The Blues are still at 89. And I feel like that's just a very difficult situation for those teams to come back from and to be able to get those extra points to surpass either the Wild or the Blues. But I'm also looking at the Colorado Avalanche, who have 94 points, 75 games played. So 1 game in hand over the Blues with 45 wins, 26 losses, and 4 OTL, sitting at 94 points. Again, the Blues have 89 points. So that is a 5-point difference. Do I think the Blues can surpass them? I mean, why not? Right now, locked into the playoffs is the Jets and the Stars and the Vegas Golden Knights officially. So when we look at the entire league, by the way, we only have a couple teams locked in. That's the Jets, the Capitals, the Stars, and the VGK. And then we have teams that are eliminated officially: San Jose, Chicago, Nashville, and Seattle. So again, nothing crazy happening. I think I forget what the other team was. But I mean, Boston right now, like becoming a bottom team is crazy. I think we ruined the Bruins kind of, maybe a little. But anyways, I am just so impressed with the Blues right now, and they're doing something really special. But I want to also, again, as I mentioned prior, talk to you a little bit. So right now the game is 0-0 between the Wild and Rangers. Puck just dropped. We want the Rangers to win. That is a huge, important game for us. Capitals, Hurricanes. Obviously, Ovechkin has 4 goals left. So if you want to watch history, I would tune into that. Then you have the Panthers and the Maple Leafs. Is it bad that I'm hoping Craig Berube does well in the playoffs? Maybe. I usually don't like to root for other teams, but I like to root for individuals, and I love the Chief. Let's go see the Avalanche and Blackhawks. So I hate Chicago. Like, hate Chicago. Well, not the city, but I hate the teams a lot. However, I do want the Blackhawks to win tonight just because I want to catch up to the Avs. Then you have a late puck drop, a 9:30 puck drop. I know it is Seattle and the Canucks. You want the Kraken to win. Oh wow, the Jets defeated the Kings. I mean, the Kings defeated the Jets yesterday 4-1. See, like, that's the thing about the Jets. I feel like they just haven't been as, like, dominant, maybe. Maybe that's just a me thing. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on that. How do you feel like they've been playing lately? But, yeah, in terms of tonight's games, that's what we have to focus on. So, Rangers to win, and then you need Seattle to win, and then you need the Blackhawks to win. I know. But, I mean, you do, and that's the reality of it. I hate to be that person. However, at the end of the day, when you were competing for a playoff spot, I would rather be in the 3rd position in the Central than in wildcard 1, even though I'm not going to complain because this team is unbelievable. I love this team so much. Anyways, speaking of me loving this team, I want to talk about the Magic because I do believe the Magic is back. have a little bit more of a fun segment, not just breaking down statistics and telling you a bunch of numbers. I want to talk about the fun. But like all good things, sometimes when talking about the fun, you have to talk about one of my favorite, and I've been using this, one of my favorite things ever right now. And this actually is fun because it's called Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder where did all my money go? Blues gear. Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you just stop managing your money and you start building wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on my food delivery, and now I'm budgeting smarter and I can save more. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money and use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNHL for half off your first year. I use it. I love it. All right. You know what? I also love the magic of the St. Louis Blues. I wish so badly I could play Gloria. And I laugh because it's something that I have talked about quite a bit. But I'm going to go to my Locked On Blues Twitter account at Locked On Blues Wildcard1 LGB. Let's go Blues. Because I have been having so much fun lately. And every single person on my Twitter account right now is saying, chase the Avs, they can do it. And I believe that the Blues can do it because this Blues team has so much talent and I'm having so much fun. The biggest question people want to know is what is going on with the Blues right now? How come they got so good? And I feel like I've talked about that a lot, but people underestimate the talent that is on the Blues. They underestimate Robert Thomas, a Jordan Kyrou, a Dylan Holloway, a Jordan Binnington. The list goes on and on and on. And Russ, he is also known in sportsology. He does Locked On Flyers. He also does stuff with Sirius XM. He sent me this text message today. I was asked about the Blues on my weekly segment with NHL Radio. It's a lot of Blues talk. That was a text I got from Russ today. And I think that just goes to show that every single person is talking about the St. Louis Blues because the St. Louis Blues are the most relevant team in the NHL, the best team in the NHL at this current moment and stretch, and they're the team that's most exciting. That game last night, and I know I'm going to talk about this game a lot because I really do believe that that was like the game, not necessarily of the season, but the game that had like the it moment of the season. The Blues, they're unable to score in Cam Talbot last night. They have less than 30 seconds, 29 seconds left. Jordan Kyrou is able to score. And then on top of him scoring, you have a phenomenal backhanded goal by Cam Fowler in overtime that was fed to him by the great Robert Thomas. We all know how I feel about Robert Thomas. And it just goes to show that this St. Louis Blues team is so special that people think that there is something magical going on and they're comparing it to 2019. But all along, what have I been saying on this podcast since my first episode? I introduced myself day one of this podcast. I said, hey guys, I'm Haley Taylor Simon. I am your new host of the Locked On Blues, and I love Robert Thomas because he is elite. That was exactly what I said. I looked back. And I look back to that and people, messaged me. They're like, I don't get this Robert Thomas hype. I don't understand how you could watch last night's game and not see how fantastic of a setup Robert Thomas had on Fowler's goal. Also, Cam Fowler was like a steal from Anaheim. Thank you, Anaheim. The Ducks basically donated Cam Fowler to us, but he has been a superstar within himself. I also can't forget Ryan Suter and what he's done for the Blues this season. It's really a special team. But I think overall, Jordan Binnington has these moments, right, where he shines in the games. And, last night, the cat with, these big shots on net and Binner is able to save it. It's something special. But Jordan Kyrou was asked, does this feel like 2019? And he basically said no. And I know I mentioned that earlier, but I think that's an important thing for all of us to remember, that this is a different type of feel, right? In 2019, we were chasing our first cup. And it just felt like this nonstop sense of magic. Right now, not that it doesn't feel like magic, but it just feels like this is what this team should have been doing, because we saw stretches of the team playing phenomenal hockey towards the end of last season. I know some changes were made, but nothing too crazy. I mean, the Blues didn't do that much, but the offer sheet players have been a huge contributing factor. And again, thank you for the development on Broberg and Holloway, Edmonton. I appreciate that. Thank you. But this is a special, special St. Louis Blues team. So I do encourage you to just tune in. They play the Penguins tomorrow night. I know I will be watching. I hope they finally beat the Penguins and split the series with them this season. But it's on home ice, double-digit winning streak already. Just keep on chasing the points. At this point, what's there to lose? This is the most fun hockey team I think I've watched in a long, long time. The NHL came out the statistic today, and it said the last time, the teams made their respective, playoffs, and the Blues were 2020-22. I really feel confident when I say this. I was wrong this season when I said this team isn't a playoff team midway through. I had my doubts, but I don't think anybody was expecting this. And if you were expecting it, let me know why you thought that. I always knew these players had the potential. I just was always concerned about the defense and the penalty kill. But tomorrow we will talk about the Penguins. But most importantly, we can talk still about this team and some expectations going forward if they make it to the playoffs, which I think they will. All right, I will talk to you all on tomorrow's episode. And like always, let's go Blues.